Today, we're going to try watercolor techniques in a different style. I need to give you some explanations about transparent and opaque colors. The paints we've been using so far were opaque, which means they contain a matting agent that makes the color more matte and flat. Transparent paints don't have this agent, so the color is clear and thin, which makes them perfect for watercolor work. Here is an example of a transparent color, and here is almost the same color but in its opaque version, which I'm applying on the palette. With these, you can see the difference between the two paints in terms of their thickness, transparency, and how flat the color looks. Take a look. This one is the transparent paint. See how clear and glass-like it is? And its counterpart, the opaque paint, is thick and matte. The coverage of this paint is much higher, so it's used for base layers and main colors. It's great for a watercolor style. When working on silk or certain other materials, these transparent paints are used. The technique we're going to use today is a different style of watercolor, which is not the same as the previous example. The previous one was more about covering the surface. With the brush, we used to wet the areas we wanted to paint, but today we won't be wetting the surface. With this technique, we only use very diluted paint, which is a mix of these opaque colors and transparent colors, and to dilute these paints even more, we use a lightening medium. Today, this medium is one that doesn't reduce the transparency of the transparent colors or affect them. In fact, it just dilutes the paint, making it really suitable for watercolor style work. Today, we're going to work on a ready-made garment, and this one doesn't have a back that you can open up, so you can't open it up and lay it flat on the table. So you definitely need to use something to protect the inner layer of your garment. I actually have a palette here, which is also my cutting board, and I'm going to put it inside the garment. This will act as a protective layer so that any paint I apply here, because the paint is thin and we're working in a watercolor style, it can seep through to the inner layer of the garment and make a mess. On the other hand, this also makes the surface really smooth and firm. The fabric sits on this base, so the two layers of fabric don't stick together. It's much easier to work on this way, and you can transfer your design using yellow carbon paper or a heat-sensitive pen. Do it however you feel comfortable and have control over. We've talked about this before. Use whatever method you prefer to transfer the design. Just go with what works best for you. Even if you have a steady hand and want to draw freehand or without sketching the design on the fabric first, just start painting and use your imagination and creativity. You can even skip sketching the design entirely and begin your work directly with the brush and paint. Today, I want to start my work this way. To begin, I'm using opaque white paint, and I'm thinning this opaque white with water. The medium I mentioned is used for transparent colors. As you can see, I've diluted the paint a lot. You can use a seed palette if you want, but personally, I find these palettes more comfortable to work with. See how diluted the paint is? So we don't need to dampen the fabric anymore. The paint is already very thin, and we can start painting wet on wet. HYG. In this watercolor style, the spreading of the paint is less. Your painting still has a watercolor feel, but unlike the previous style, the paint doesn't spread as much around your work. It's much less. Here, I want to add one of the transparent colors, and since my surface is very wet, this white that I applied here, there's no need to dilute it again. But if you do need to make it thinner, definitely use the lightening medium. Because the surface of our flower is so wet, you can easily blend the color you applied with your brush and give it the highlights and shadows you want. And in some areas, you might even leave it unblended, keeping the lines visible. Actually, very much so. The way it is, without blending, those initial lines you put down can stay like an outline, but in some spots, of course, it needs to be blended.